Good evening, everybody. Dave Beck here with Paverson Games. Happy Whiskey Wednesday to all of you out there in the Facebooks and the YouTube lands. Hopefully you're out there. If you wouldn't mind, maybe if you're watching on one of the streams, please comment. Let me know what you're drinking tonight, how you're joining us tonight here in the Whiskey Wednesday land with Dave. I've got a really exciting slate tonight. We've got a couple cool guests that are going to be joining us, some updates as well. And again, if you are watching on Facebook, please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Why you have to do that is because you can basically tell Facebook to give them permission to push your name out there. Otherwise, I actually don't know it's you. It'll just say Facebook user. So please go ahead and do that if you are. If you're watching on YouTube, you don't have to worry about this at all. So it looks like, oh, hey, Stuart from Melbourne having a little coffee tonight. Please post what you're drinking. Let us know. I am really excited. I've got a new dram tonight that I just cracked open. This is the, let's see if I can hold this up. Port Charlotte heavily peated from Bruichladdich Distillery from Islay. I visited this distillery when I was over there in 2019, actually. No joke, about 2 weeks before I came up with the idea for Distilled, I visited this distillery. And I opened this and drinking this tonight to celebrate the fact that I just stepped down after 8 years, about a month ago now. I stepped down from my director position at the School of Art and Design here at UW Stout, University of Wisconsin Stout, which is where I teach. I've been the director, which is kind of like a mini dean for the last 8 years. And along with some other amazing stuff, my faculty and staff gifted me this bottle of whiskey, and it is delicious. Heavily peated and I'm even drinking it in my, you probably can't see this, my Bruichladdich glass. Come on, focus. You can do it. Can you? No, you can't. It's my Bruichladdich glasses. There we go. That I got there as well. So I'm really working it tonight. So I see Stuart. I hope other people are tuning in too. Post in the chat, say hello so we can hear you and see you. And we're going to dive into the show. Now, I got, like I said, some special guests I'll get to in a second. First, I want to give a little bit of just updates on all things Distilled, all things Luthier. Lots of different things happening here. And of course, the biggest one of all is our Kickstarter that is very getting closer and closer by the day. Let me pull this up to show you here. We now are at 5,553 followers. I better refresh this. Oh, nope, 5,556 followers wanting to be notified about Luthier on launch. So that's really exciting stuff there too. So we're getting close. We are less than a month out. July 16th is when we are launching. So again, thanks to everybody who's already hit the follow or notify me button. If you haven't yet, I will post that in the chat right now. Let's see if I can do this. Boom, one-handed. I can. Boom. So I'm sure most people have already done it, but if not, please follow it in the chat. And I hope Facebook is working. If someone from Facebook, oh yeah, I see it is. I think it is. Hopefully, if someone's watching Facebook land, you could post in here too, just to make sure it's working on there. And again, really, there's a lot of work to do. I'm basically working pretty much every day, all day, organizing all the things, logisticating all the different copies that are out there. There's about 20 copies out with 20 different content creators right now. And you've seen some of that start to stream through. In fact, a few of them, Punchboard, Adam Richards in the UK, posted a really cool written review about Luthier. So if you're someone that is interested in the idea of written reviews, then you can do that. I'm going to put my drink down so I can more easily copy and paste this stuff. I'll put these into the chats so you can follow those along. We also had, let me go to this one first. Man versus Meeple do a quick kind of sneak peek as well, which was a really fun video. They're actually going to do a more official video as we get closer to the campaign or after the campaign. But that was a great one, just talking about the production and what they found. And then was it just yesterday, Thinker Themer did a review as well. So they're out in Australia, so that was really fun of them. They gave a really great full review talking about what they liked, what they didn't, which is great. I mean, that's part of this, is it's not just all about smoke and mirrors, but also helping people understand if it's a game that they're going to like. So I really appreciated all of those reviews so far. Those are just a few of them that have been coming through. Couple other things to note. This is far in the future, but don't forget, we are going to be at Gen Con this year, just like last year. Unfortunately, all 38 events, which have 12 seats each, so 456 seats are sold out. But lots of Distilled, lots of, let me zoom in on that. Lots of Distilled, lots of Luthier, all sold out, but that means you'll still be able to pop by and take a look at it and watch and maybe visit our booth as well. So, oh, hey, Doc Chills, good to see you. That's Paul, I think, so coming in. Hopefully having a nice whiskey, not a tequila. We all know tequila is the inferior drink as compared to whiskey. And of course, the other con this year I'm going to be attending is Essen Spiel Essen. So that is really exciting. That's going to be our first time going to that. That's going to be out in, of course, Germany. For those that don't know, this is the largest one in the world. I think almost 200,000 people attend, or at least maybe not uniques, but attendees. So again, exciting stuff about that. That's going to be huge and crazy. That's in October. So that's Essen Spiel. A couple other quick announcements I want to make just specifically about Distilled. The first one is I'm so honored and surprised and excited. Distilled is actually nominated by the Dice Tower for their annual awards in 6 categories, which is crazy. So those are the categories there. You can see that they put us down. If you go, I think there's a video that they did that you can kind of see them going over the nominations. If you do go, go and see it, you're going to see like, oh, okay, maybe Distilled doesn't have much of a chance to get some of those, but it's still cool that we got nominated for 6 different things. They announce the awards, I think, in at Gen Con, so that'll be kind of interesting too. I'll be there too. Paulie, I think you got someone who's on your side. You're right. Tequila is worth a little bit more. So that could be a little bit of a problem. Maybe it is. So anyway, so Distilled, 6 different nominations for that. And then also, I doubt anyone's actually watching from Origins right now because you're at Origins playing games. But Origins fair is going on right now. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it this year, but Distilled is a finalist in the best thematic category. I'm a little worried. I'm up against Thunder Road Vendetta, I think, and also in the Dice Tower Awards too. I just think they're going to literally mow over me. So I'm not too hopeful there, but you never know. So if you're out at Origins, cross your fingers. I think they're announcing those maybe Friday night. So exciting stuff there as far as all the awards and other things too. Let's see here. I think that's all I wanted to talk about for special announcements. I'm going to, let's see, remove this. So again, last month, of course, I had an unboxing. It was kind of an extended Whiskey Wednesday that we went through the unboxing of Luthier. And this month, though, is a little different. This month, I'm really excited. We have 2 very, very special guests. 2 people that are likely 2 of the kind of the most talented, smartest people I know. And I know that they're probably just rolling their eyes right now. But when I look at what they've done with their skill set and what they've learned and what they apply, it is, to me at least, freaking unbelievable. So I want to welcome these 2 people. The first one I'm going to be welcoming in just a second is Seth Berrier, who was the mastermind behind not only Distilled's Tabletop Simulator mod, but now also Luthier's. And then in a little bit later tonight, I'm going to bring on Jeffrey Feldman, who has created out of the ashes, well, not ashes, hopefully that sounds bad about Distilled, created kind of out of nowhere, just a phenomenal experience in Board Game Arena for Distilled. So we're going to bring both of those on. Brian, hey, props to you. 10 points to Brian for tuning in while at Origins. That is, Brian, you got to be on the ground, kind of the campaign to get Distilled to win that. Then I'm counting on you. That's awesome. Thanks for tuning in, Brian. That's great. So without further ado, let's bring on Seth Berrier to the stage. I don't have an applause thing, but we're gonna we can there. We'll pull it in a little bit. But Seth, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Not bad. Well, a happy Whiskey Wednesday, and of course, the first thing I got to ask is what you drinking tonight, Seth?
Well, I'm mostly staying hydrated. I have my canteen of ice water, but I also wanted to pull out something nice and classic for Luthier. So I have a nice table red Nice and simple.
I love it.
Right to the point.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome, man. And can you hold that canteen thing up again? That thing looked like a bottle of gasoline. Look at that thing. It's giant.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I can go through one of these a day, and it's probably still not as much water as I'm supposed to get. So
that's probably good, though. That's good to say, like, as long as I drink this entire thing, I'm good, right?
Yeah. There you go.
That's cool. Well, hey, Seth. So for some people might recognize Seth because, again, I've had him on as a guest before, and he's also guest written some blog stuff for me too about the development of Distilled Tabletop Simulator, which was now, 3 years ago, Seth. But now, of course, we're back. You've been working away at the Luthier mod for a little bit now, and I just thought it's already public. We're pretty darn close to making the solo, and the 2-player mod is public as well. So I thought perfect time to have you on. So yeah, tell us a little bit about you. Like what do you do, and how do you fit into this puzzle, and all that stuff, so people can get to know you more.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess I am a teacher just like Dave at UW Stout. That is kind of where I've landed. But just like Dave, I have lots of other hobbies and interests too. And so I've been playing games with Dave a lot over the years. And when he started talking about Distilled and had us play tested a few times, I just sort of put it out there. Hey, if I can help make this happen, let me know. This is really cool. I'd love to be a part of it. And then, the pandemic happened, and we really needed to take a top-notch online experience, make that happen for Distilled. And so I was like, cool, I'm down with that. And I didn't know anything about Tabletop Simulator or any of these other systems at that time, but necessity is the mother of invention. And so we figured it out, and I really loved it. I found that, all the skills that I had built up as a computer programmer, kind of slotted right in there, and it was really fun. So yeah, I was along for the ride in Distilled, and we kind of went in there thinking, oh, we'll see. This probably won't be too complicated, right? Mostly we just need to take the clumsy stuff and make it not clumsy. And well, it went way further than that. I couldn't leave well enough alone, and so we found plenty of things to work on and make better and keep trying. And I just kept trying to push Tabletop Simulator to see how far it could go, how far I could take it. So yeah, it was no hesitation for me. I guess the first time you had me play test Luthier, that kind of sparked something in me, because I'm also a singer. I have a degree in music. I absolutely love that. I haven't decided to make that my career, but I still do it all the time. I'm on the stage here in Menominee, where Stout is, and so I've had when I saw that and the musical connection with Luthier, I thought, oh, I could really have some fun with this. So I have appreciated the opportunity to put my own little touch on it, and it's been so amazing to see it evolve. Both, one of the things I've really appreciated being there fairly early on. We need this for play testing, right? And so the TTS mod, as it gets going, I see it in its roughest forms when it's just beginning, and I can appreciate how much it has evolved, both the art, which is just incredible, but the gameplay too, how much it changes over time. Sometimes I both appreciate and loathe that, because I have to throw entire chunks of the scripting out.
Oh, that's right.
Rework them, but that's part of the game. So yeah, it's been a really interesting relationship. I've liked it a lot.
That's cool. And can you help, because as you said, you mentioned that you're a professor at UW Stout, just like me. Can you talk a little bit about how this might be different than what you teach, or the same as well?
Sure. It's connected to it in a couple different ways, because the way we teach computer science at Stout, our primary concentration is game design and development. I say it's a good software engineering degree in disguise, because you'll never be better at working on a team until you've worked on a big team making a game. That is a really intense process to go through. So yeah, I had watched my students work tirelessly to make games many times, and pushed and produced and helped them refine ideas. And so in many ways, this was a lot like that. Of course, the game being made here wasn't just a video game. It is usually for our students, but yeah, it definitely connected to a lot of that. And then at the same time, it's just me working on the script and pushing it through with a lot of feedback from Dave and from Richard. And I appreciate all of that. But it's not a team, when it comes to implementing the code and everything. And there's something nice about that, about being the sort of maverick working on it, blasting through the code. These days, the opportunity to make something that's really impactful all by yourself is far and few between. It takes a team to make something. And that's so true. I do really, well, the full experience that is Luthier is owed mostly to other people. I will say that all those scripts that are in the background pulling the strings is all me, and that feels really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That is cool. Nice. Wow, that's cool. What about and feel free if you want. I know you've got. We could probably pull it up here soon in a second, so feel free to pull that up, and I'll get it loaded on the screen too. While we're doing that, what would you say? Because I know TTS Tabletop Simulator, I think, is it still run on Unity? It uses a certain scripting language that maybe others don't. What maybe would you say is TTS's biggest shortcoming, but also maybe one of the things that's greatest strength? And that could be for you or for the user.
Yeah. I think, the biggest problem is just sometimes physical cards and physical components are easy to toss around and count. And they're just right in front of you. And as you're flipping through them, fanning them out in front of you, looking through a deck to find just the card you need, these kinds of things, in a heavy strategy game, there's a lot of things like that happening. A good example are the patrons in Luthier. You've got level 1 and level 2, and they're all kind of spread throughout the deck. And you just say, separate 1 and 2, shuffle them separately and stack them back together. No problem in the real world. In Tabletop Simulator, things like that you really got to dig into some of the sort of secret sauce to even know how to make it easy, and not just having to go one card at a time back and forth and make it happen. And so there's a lot of clumsiness, especially when cards are involved. If you've got a lot of unique cards, and every Paverson game has had just these gorgeous art poured throughout all the cards. You're going to be searching through for just the right one time after time. And I kept thinking to myself as I was looking at it, this is the biggest shortcoming, and when we've got these card heavy games, we really need to make sure we put everything in there, buttons here and there, anything we can find that will make it a little easier to find that perfect card, or to do this setup that would be super easy in person and is so putsy in Tabletop Simulator. Yeah. Every bit of that putziness is over in the code too. It's like I can do what users do in the code, but it's the exact same kinds of things going on. So all that clumsiness, I at least have it in 100 lines of code instead of 100 individual moves you have to make on the board. But it takes a long time to write all that down and get it all folding together and working right and spreading out. All that aside though, I think when you link the two together, the clumsiness, the awkwardness of a virtual world with scripting in the background, they really resolve one another. I mean, that's what I really felt was intriguing when I dove into Distilled originally, was like, oh, we could do this so much easier with a script and just hit a button and it happens. And so I've tried to embrace that everywhere. Anywhere where it felt like Tabletop Simulator itself was getting in the way, that was an area that I should try and use scripting to fix it. Otherwise, people that know TTS, that know the controls and everything, they get around in it pretty darn well. Yeah. And I hope that the script just makes it smoother and easier, so it doesn't take any longer than it does in person.
That's cool. Yeah. And I think one interesting thing about this, and why I'm so excited to have you and JB on tonight, is that TTS is definitely, oftentimes I think it's very much used by designers for play testing. It's used by community for early adoption of games before they're maybe fully established and out in the real world. Well, I find BGA, Board Game Arena, which is what we're going to learn about later, is very much the opposite. So that's got, from what I can tell. So that'll be interesting to see that too. Hey, why don't you give us a little tour? I've got it shared up on the screen right now, so I can see your screen. To walk us through what you've got here.
I should do one thing here real quick. I'm remembering. I don't want to exit all the way out. Configuration. Give me my top menu back again real quick. I knew I was going to regret getting rid of that as soon as I'm gonna load this up one more time because I just noticed the one bug that won't go away. Okay, there we go. So we try and always to be the same kind of layout you'd have on a table, though, just like with Distilled, we keep everybody on the same side of the table.
Yeah.
Never do that in real life, but it's so easy to do here. And then everybody's looking at it right side up. And we've got, all the basic things where they need to be. But I think the key thing that I learned to do this time with Luthier that I hadn't done in the past was trying to keep everything modular. The Lewis scripting in TTS does not lend itself to that, but it's everything I've been trained to do as a computer scientist. So I spent a lot of time up front just learning how I could make that world work. And so instead of having something defined that's like, this is the one specific scripting zone for the red player's area where their resource tokens are being counted up, I instead coded, well, here's a generic scripting zone that will count resource tokens. And through a little bit of magic that comes from some of the plugins that I can use with Visual Studio Code, we can then duplicate that out to all 4 boards if they're there. And if one of them isn't present, we can leave it out. Or if we flip one of these boards over into its AI player mode, we can just not put that resource zone down there because they're all independent now. They aren't all kind of fused into one. They were in Distilled because that was the obvious way to do it. There was no easy way to make things modular, and there still isn't, but we solved that problem up front. We spent a lot of time digging into the tools and resources that can bundle stuff for us. And so the stuff I'm probably most proud of with all of that, I can't even show you because it doesn't show up. The experience is the same for you, and it's supposedly way better for me, or at least it lets me go a lot further. I think because of that, I was able to spend time on stuff that I thought, I've got a unique perspective on music. Maybe I could bring some of that there. I actually spent a lot of time lately in our theater program working on showing lights and sound, working on trying to enhance, some of the plays that we do with music that maybe isn't in the script, but that I think could really lend to it. We had a lot of fun with that when we did Dracula. And I liked that. I like this idea that, maybe I'll put a little of this here, that here, and just see what it is. And it makes it more like a movie, like a cinematic experience, I thought. And so I was like, why don't I see if I can find some good sound effects for Luthier? And Dave did tempt me with that. He said, hey, go give this a try. And so I'll see if this comes through here.
Yeah.
Oh, for 1 player. It's still set up for 1 player. I didn't think it was. All right, give me a moment here.
Oh, there he goes. Look, so this is good though. So this is behind the
scenes now.
This is all the code.
I was disabling the other players. That would be why. It's too smart for me. Okay, let's try again. Is the sound coming through here?
That's awesome.
So we pulled out all these little horn calls. I found those out for free on the internet with all credit to the people that made them. You can see the credits over when you first start up with the Luthier menu there. And I was like, these are perfect. It just has that kind of classic polished aspect to it that I thought just really fit what your artist was coming up with, the direction that I saw everything going. And it really wasn't too hard. There's another fun part for those that have tuned in. We'll look behind the curtain. Here's the music right here. It's this little jukebox here. This is actually just a cube from Unity, and then I packed it with a whole bunch of scripts that I can call, and we exported that. We also have the second player board hidden back here so that it will load faster when we switch to 1 or 2 player mode.
That's funny.
But with that back there, we can trigger all kinds of sound effects. The other one that's really easy to trigger is when we roll the dice. And so that's a performance when you roll the dice. Great. And I'm like, we need to play some music when we do that. And then I guess the other one, I think we can do it. We haven't really started a game here yet, but let's go ahead and see if we can set up a bidding situation here. Get a apprentice or 2 in here. Where did they all go? Okay, there they are. So we'll get a stack of bidding tokens here. Need to not move so fast. Okay, I'm totally messing this up. We'll put them on the actual board. And
that's good. Yeah, because you've got it set up so that a little green dot appears for
Right.
people to know to resolve it, which is great.
So the resolving, I mean, it's not too bad to do manually in Tabletop Simulator, but I also thought it was a great opportunity to play on that mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that mechanic was kind of the key spark that I felt got Luthier going of the hidden bidding. And so we can add a little tension to it. So when we click this button, takes him over there. And then he told me really early on that he wanted this sort of first player token to be for sorting them, but also to be a fretboard. Yep. was the sort of idea. We played with a keyboard also, but I found all those nice little flamenco style suspension chord things, and I was like, okay, we need to set that up.
It's perfect.
And so yeah, we play little musical jingles as you're playing the game here on TTS, so that you get that kind of feel of it. So beyond that, most of what's happening under the hood is just so much bigger than it was in Distilled. And I think we went into this thinking, oh, this will probably be easier than Distilled.
Yeah, I remember thinking that.
Yeah, for like the angel share and the dropping off of the tail was going to be really hard, and we thought, we definitely need to script that, but it was nothing obvious we needed to script for this one. Yeah, but I very quickly thought there's still things that really could benefit from it.
Totally.
It just grew and grew and grew, and here we are now. We're squashing bugs, trying to get everything all polished up and out to the world so they can start playing with the 2-player. We do have that. You know, one of the other things that we can do this time around, we have this wonderful scripted rehearsal that I guess did Cody mostly develop that, or was
Richard and Cody? Richard designed it, and then Cody and Richard kind of developed it with the editing too. Yeah.
Okay. And so that tells you exactly how to play the first round. We want specific cards to come out. We want everything to be set up just in one way, and it just guides you through all of it. And so this time around, I was able to just script all of that. We know exactly what cards to pull out and where to put them. And so these are not random this time. It's pulling out the exact cards that should be out there, the exact awards that should be there. All of the hands are set up to be what they should be. And again, you know, that's something that it's even a little intense to do that in person when you're doing it, but not too bad. But it would be really clumsy in Tabletop Simulator. Here, it's just a click of a button, and I have all that stuff stored. If they change their mind and want something slightly different, we can clean it up real quick and get that in line with the final version. That's you know, one of the things I've been teaching my students this semester, it was a book where they said, what is good software design? And that a good design is something that anticipates a change before it happens, where change is welcome. And I will say this scripting finally is doing that a little bit. When change comes along, it feels like it accepts it willingly. And there are too many ripple effects out to other things. There were a few unexpected when we really tried to bring in the solo version, but by and large, it hasn't been too bad. So
yeah, can you show, is the solo version working that you could show the setup of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go ahead and reset here.
And this is something that's pretty cool too. I think you've got a couple things that are new that I thought, oh my gosh, genius.
And so we'll go to that mode here. There it goes. If I try and do it while being a full 4-player, I have it forcing 4 players right now. We'll say, no, you can't do that. We have to go down to 1 or 2 players. So let me disable all the other colors here. We'll just leave red enabled. And then we go ahead and switch to the solo and start.
Nice.
So brings out our solo board here, gets everything set up. It still sets up a lot of things the same way as before, but now we're using the 1 to 2 player side of the board. And we're bringing out completely different components for the AI player. It's just a completely different setup, as these often are. We don't need some things, whereas we need some new things as well. All of that comes out nice and cleanly. I don't know why this is upside down. There we go. Put that on the bug list. And then some other things that we do, you know, in order to make this reasonable, some things sort of need to be pre-populated. The orchestra, when you're playing with 2 players, which is really what you're doing when you're playing with the AI, it's good to pre-populate the orchestra. And so Dave came up with these kind of pre-population cards, or maybe that was Richard. And ultimately we need to take one of these and set up the pit according to that. And so I can just pull one out and drop it here, and it does that. it brings out exactly what the tokens are to match what this says. We're also supposed to cover several awards. It does that for you. So really just quality of life improvements that make it all go faster.
That's awesome.
Similarly, you're supposed to pick a guild here. We drop that over here, and it does that. Oh, and we've got a bug. We triggered a bug. I'll have to look that up.
No, did you?
The dreaded red text. This is why it isn't out there yet. But
yeah, we're close.
Yeah.
And then I know you're not red player, but can you pull those question marks out? I think that's the Luthier family. I think it'll let you grab it.
Yeah.
And that's set up to show. It also sets up the player board too, which is cool.
Oh, right. Yeah. So it gives me all of my starting bonuses and everything else. It gets that all populated. Yeah. And then at this point, we're ready to play round one. Oh, it didn't. Yeah, this was the bug we had before where for some reason it thinks I haven't picked a card. I don't know
yeah,
why.
got it. Yeah.
Let's just try again real quick because this must be some intermittent error. I think it ought to work. But yeah, once we get everything set up, we can start right into the game. Oh, I did it too quick. When I go too fast, it doesn't get it.
Oh, really?
There we go. Back over. I also have a mode where I can disable this intro pause and everything because when I'm in development and starting,
come on, I want to get to it.
I know. All right, let's pick a Luthier family. You know what I should also do? I better do this real quick. I think one of the other problems might be that I have
not a player
color. Yeah. So let me bring the player names back up so I can do that. Oh, I have to hit apply. Their names apply. There we go. And I will go ahead and change to red.
There you go.
That'll be better. Oh, and that reminds me, we have our bank. Those that have played the TTS mod for Distilled will recognize this. It's the same kind of setup. To control money, but it also lets you bring in inspiration, and it will let you bring in resources. Nice. And it will count those out for you. And then let's go ahead and finish here. We'll do this setup. There it goes. And then hopefully this works this time. There we go. And notice it moved these out to match what the guild asked us to do. So now if we start round one, say, okay, we're on into the game here. It sets the order of play according to the Luthier family as well as the guild. And then as we play along, you need to be able to pull out random bidding tokens from the AI. And so you'll notice here, I can't see in here. If I change to black, I would be able to see in there. That would allow me to see at least what tokens they have. But I can just click this button anytime I need a random bidding token. Oh, and cool. I don't know which one it is, but I can place it down just like I would anything else. So we can get all of this going along here. And little things like that we've added to try and make sure that the solo variant is still doable without, we really need to know or need to not know what those tokens are when they come out so that it's truly that hidden bidding mechanic that lets us do that.
That's cool. Wow. Well, thanks, Seth. This has been awesome. And so the public mod's available for those that have TTS or know it. Then, in fact, let me put the workshop link down. For those that are interested, if they have Tabletop Simulator, you can access the public mod now. You can play 3 or 4 players. Soon, I would think fairly soon, we're going to have the solo and 2-player mod available publicly too, which I know a lot of people are excited for because a lot of times people don't have 3 or 4 people to play all together, but they definitely have 1 or 2. So that's exciting. I posted the link to where you could get that in the chat. All you have to do, you do have to buy Tabletop Simulator. It's a 3D program, as you can see. Seth, what you going to moving around? Yeah, so people can see it's a 3-dimensional environment. So you might want to have a computer that can run 3D well enough. And I would suggest an external mouse. But for those interested, you can test out Luthier before you even think about the Kickstarter, which is the whole goal here and why I'm so appreciative of Seth and all the magic you've been able to make here. It's pretty amazing.
Awesome.
So Seth, as we close, before we send you out, is there any way people can either follow you or get in touch with you if they have further questions?
Well, you can find me around in a lot of places. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping back to the thing over here so I can see you.
Oh, here, yeah, I'll pull that out.
You can find me around at a lot of places under the name Ollie Brown, all one word. I'm on Twitch as that. And I do occasionally stream myself doing actually some of the coding on Distilled I streamed. And I occasionally stream myself working on code in Unreal Engine. Yeah. And I'm not a content creator really, so you won't see much from me. But you might find me out there a little bit, and you can check out. I do have a lot of repositories out on GitHub, so I think you'll actually find all the source code for my Distilled TTS mod if you're ever interested in that sort of thing out on my GitHub. And so if you're interested in trying to learn how to do some of this Lua scripting yourself, you can find it there. All right, I've got someone peeking in here. I also have this guy. This is Christopher, who's been listening in the background here. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you. If you're also into doing TTS modding with Lua, can exchange ideas. Happy to share some of the stuff that I've discovered and what my setup is to make all of this work.
Perfect. Cool. Well, hey, Seth, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and show us all through Luthier. And I know I just can't wait to have that solo and 2-player mod on. And I know a lot of other people out there are too. So this is great for them to see the face behind the Luthier curtain there. So
awesome.
Well,
thanks.
Sláinte, Seth. Thanks a lot.
Sláinte.
See you later. All right. Well, we'll take a break there from chatting with Seth. Hopefully that helped you a little bit understand. If you're familiar with TTS, like, oh, cool, I understand this a little bit more. If you're not, maybe that'll pique your interest to think about downloading it. It's a little tricky to wield at the first point, but if you're familiar at all with kind of navigating 3D environments, games, that kind of thing, you'll pick it up like that. If you're not, if it's like, no, that seems scary. Steam, I have to sign up for. What is Steam? Is that some sort of locomotive? Like, what is this? Well, boy, do I have some good news for you. There is another platform out there called Board Game Arena. In fact, I'm just going to share my screen really quick to show you this. This is at a website that just has tons and tons of games on there. Oh, look at that. Distilled's on there too. Well, how did that happen? Well, that happened thanks to someone named JB Feldman, who reached out to me. Geez, I don't know. Well, I'm sure he'll be able to tell us in a second how long ago it was. And it's been an amazing, amazing journey over these last few months, seeing this evolve. JB has single-handedly built the Distilled mod or app, I guess you could say, or version in Board Game Arena. And I'm so happy to have him on the show tonight as well to ask him some questions, have him show us around a little bit around the Board Game Arena BGA space as well. So I'm going to welcome JB onto the stage. Come on in, JB. How you doing? Good to see you.
Hey, good. Good to see you. Nice to actually talk to you. Before today, you and I had never spoken face to face.
I know, that's the world that it is. I mean, I've heard your voice in the ether, right? For like TTS
a couple of narrations, yeah.
Oh yeah, and that type of thing. But it is fun, and it looks like you got a nice little game collection. Good choice on that center shelf, especially.
I promise it is usually prominent, but it is always on the shelf. It's actually one of the least frequent on the shelf because it often travels with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Am I lagging weirdly?
No, it's great. It's perfect.
Okay, cool.
And I think I can see you're a Disney fan too. I see a JB with a Mickey sign. Because where are you, JB? You tell everyone where you are located.
I am in the San Francisco Bay Area right now.
Perfect.
Relatively recent transplant to the Bay Area, but yeah, we've been here for about a year now. This is, I used to work for Disney, so I have this mostly because in Zoom meetings, whenever I'm in a Zoom meeting, it always says Jeffrey underneath, and I don't know who Jeffrey is. So I have this in the background so that people remember to call me JB. But,
oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah,
well, Doc Shields actually just posted too. This is Paulie. He's a big fan of Distilled. Helps us with Luthier at cons as well. Played 2 games of Distilled on BGA today. So I know we've got some fans out there tuning in. But before that, let's just ask what you drinking tonight, JB. Do you have anything tonight?
So I promise I did not coordinate this with you beforehand, but I was very surprised to find out what you were introducing because this is what I'm drinking.
Oh, you've got the real stuff, man.
This is the Brigati Black Art.
Yeah, that's the Octomore, right? Is that Octomore
this
Black
is
art?
Octomore. Yeah.
Yeah, so two Brute
So this is
Gladies.
the 1990 Black Art.
1990.
I will say I bought this for a special occasion. I bought this for my wedding 6 years ago, and I opened it last week. So I hadn't had it yet, so I bought it. But when I saw you introducing Brute Gladi, I was like, well, what are the odds? Lagavulin is my favorite, but Lagavulin is my favorite that you can get like at a store.
Yeah.
At any given store. But Brute Gladi Black Art, it's an incredible drink.
That's awesome. So I haven't had that one. I've had just Octomore, which is like, the peatiest of peaty, but that's different, right? The Black Art, is it like a special release or something?
This is a special release. This is a 23-year release.
Wow.
So
amazing.
It is
unpeated, so it's not peaty.
This is it is not artificially peated. It's still an Elay, so it still tastes a little bit like what you'd expect Elay to taste like. But it's not going to be like the Octomore or Lagavulin or Lafroig or anything.
Yeah. Got it.
It's still really good.
Cool.
But
nice. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about you. So you said recently to San Francisco. What do you do kind of in your daily life? How's it connect to maybe what we've been doing?
Yeah, so I'm a software developer by trade. Started out in computer security, have moved to a more traditional software engineering sort of world. That's why I'm here in the Bay Area, although only kind of. But yeah, so software engineering is normally my thing, but I'm normally working very much behind the scenes. I'm working on a thing that supports the developers, that supports other people, that supports other people, that supports a product. So, for example, I mentioned I worked at Disney. I didn't work on anything any of you would have ever seen. I worked on making sure that like the systems that you do interact with can fail over nicely between regions. That's the sort of things that I work on. So I'm not used to working on front ends or anything like that. But I don't know what came over me. I was just like, you know what? I think I was playing on Board Game Arena, and I was like, you know what? I'm a software developer. I can probably figure one of these things out. And so I actually started working on this game here, Kingdom's Candy Monsters. And I like Kingdom's Candy. It's a good game, but it doesn't have a community. It was a Kickstarter 5 years ago. And it doesn't really have a community, and I wasn't really motivated to learn.
Yeah.
Everyone in the Board Game Arena community, the developer community, says you should start with a game that's small, that has easy rules, that's nice and simple, because you're going to fail. Like, not you're going to fail, but it's going to be a real struggle for a while. So you should just do a game first, knock out a game that no one cares about or that doesn't have like a big audience. I went the opposite direction with this. I went with a game that has a community that everyone really cares, everyone's really passionate about, and it's been awesome. It's been the thing that motivates me to come back. If I had stuck with Kingdom's Candy, I would have been the only one playing it, and I wouldn't have been motivated to finish it.
Yeah.
And it's been really awesome to have this motivation to get back together. I think I reached out to you in like October.
I was wondering when. I couldn't remember when it was. I should go back in our history and find it, but yeah, you're probably right. Something like that.
I think I reached out in October, and I went. The Distilled hadn't even shipped yet. I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe it had just shipped.
Yeah.
Maybe it had just landed. But I was just like, this is on the list of things of licenses that might be available. I guess you at some point clicked a button that said your license is available.
I did. I years ago, actually, it was. It wasn't during the Kickstarter. Well, it was almost during the Kickstarter campaign. I can't remember. Maybe it was a little afterwards. I remember thinking, man, everyone keeps talking about BGA. I don't know. I know it's some other online platform, but whatever. But it seems like a lot of people, especially in Europe, I would love to see the stats. I have a funny feeling that in the UK, Europe, there's a higher contingent of BGA users. Anyway, I kept seeing that, and I thought, well, I'm just going to figure this out. And I couldn't understand how to make it work, not from a coding perspective. Of course, I didn't know that. But I didn't even know how to make it happen. And I think I just posted something, clicked a button that basically said, I'm looking for a developer. I think that's how it works. And then that's maybe how you found me.
Yeah, you just ended up on a list of licenses that are available. And so I scrolled through and I was like, okay, Trick Harry-On. No, I'm not going to start with that. Dwellings of Eldervale, maybe bad idea. And I went through and I landed on Distilled. And to me, I thought, thinking about how things need to work in order to make this the flow of a game is pretty straightforward. Yeah, cards do interesting things, but it didn't seem like it was that that complex. You just need to evaluate every card as it comes up. That was a mistake. That's really hard. But
especially how each card has to react and evaluate itself against other cards too. I think that's probably the onion that kept going.
I think I shared this with you a little bit ago.
Quickly,
everyone watching stream is going to get this behind the scenes.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Select window or screen, Visual Studio. Yeah, so this is the state diagram for Visual Studio. This is the state diagram in Visual Studio Code for the game Distilled in Board Game Arena. And when I thought of it, I was like, okay, it has 4 stages. You have a market phase, you have a distill phase. This is easy. And then you get into things that are like, oh, you can restart the distill phase. Well, great, wonderful. And I think, as you know, I still have not even tried to capture the drone camera. I wasn't willing to do it. It's just like I am not. I'm not trying to capture a card that can be 4 other cards. No thank you. But yeah, this is it. So you think it has these nice flows, and you do see the groupings, right? This is the market phase, and this is the.
Can you zoom in? Is that possible to zoom in?
So then you can see, like, okay, so you buy a card, great. So you can either pass. This is your turn. You can either pass, or you can buy water, which means that after you buy water, if you buy any other card, you go down here. If you buy water, you go here, which means you can reveal a card, but you don't have to reveal a card, so you can end up down here.
Yeah.
Or you can, and then once you reveal a card, you can choose to buy it or not, and you might or might not be able to afford it. And then you end your market. You end the market phase once everyone is passed, and this is like the can't play. You don't have any more money left, so you keep going.
Yeah.
And looking for new players, and the distill looks the same, and the distill phase looks nice and fine until you realize that you have this restart flow, and you have these like, the coffee stills and those sorts of things. And then this is the sell phase where you have each label.
Oh, wow.
Each label has its own thing, and then you have the end of the round, which looks like it should be easy, but then you have to have a one-off for discarding your goals, things like that. So,
and where's age? Is age right down there too?
So you have the
it's off to the side. I see.
Yeah, so this is one of the times, to Seth's point before about wanting to have things not break and be future-proofing your code. This was not future-proof. When I started this code, I was like, the age phase, I can just do that for everyone all at once. That seems easy because everyone ages all at once. And then you have Angus. This entire thing is complicated because of Angus. Angus allows you to select different flavors. And so right there, I had to handle a situation where everyone else just ages, but he has a choice of what he ages. So
that is really funny.
Just a little bit more complicated. So instead of having one age phase for everyone, I had to break it out into one age phase per person.
Yeah. Wow.
And then, but it's been fun. It's been really interesting. It's been a learning experience, much like Seth didn't have any TTS experience. I didn't have any BGA experience. This is all written in PHP and JavaScript.
Okay. I was going to ask what that, and is that the typical language in BGA, or is it kind of up to you?
It's not up to you. So I would not have picked these languages just because I'm not familiar with them, not because they're bad. But what's really nice about Board Game Arena is that they have an incredible framework built in. I designed the states here, but they have the framework behind that allows you to transition through these states seamlessly and move around between them. And they have animations set up for you that you can leverage. They have a lot of really good stuff that if you were designing, say, a standalone app, you would have to design all of that yourself. But they have a lot of this stuff that really it takes a learning curve to get used to how the framework works. But once you're in it, it does a lot of work for you.
That's nice. I didn't know that. Huh. Interesting. Well, hey, let's if this is awesome. I love this. And if there's anything else you want to show there, but I would also love to have you show people, just kind of do an introduction to BGA for people, and maybe we can pop in on even a distilled game going on too.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We see Kevin. Kevin's comment there. We've got a couple BGA fans out here, or BGA Distilled fans. So thanks to Kevin for that, posting that, as well as Brian earlier, Silverfear.
I was trying to pull up while we were talking the statistics, because you and I have access to the statistics. Right now, only 7% of the Distilled user base is in the UK, but we can.
Oh, really? I don't think I do. I got to check that out then. Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. So yeah, I will share this other screen, and I can give people a quick overview of BGA. BGA does a lot, so I'm not going to cover everything, but yeah. And then I'm currently in a game with someone else from our Discord, so we can talk about that.
And while JB's bringing that up, CG, you asked about Luthier quickly as far as weight. Yeah, I still stand by 3.5 to 3.75 is the weight for Luthier. Some do feel it's maybe a little heavier, but I honestly think it's them comparing it to Distilled. We've jumped from a 3 for Distilled to something more like a 3.5, 3.75 for Luthier. I think once you play, you'll find that there's lots of complex decisions, but the rules aren't necessarily complex. So I'd encourage you to keep watching playthroughs and previews as the weeks evolve. But thanks for asking that question. All right, JB, let's pull this up. There we go.
So this is the Board Game Arena landing page. I'll take you through Distilled in a second, but this is just the overall page that you'll land on if you go to boardgamearena.com. You do have to create an account. Accounts are free. So you can create a free account, and that will allow you to play an unlimited amount of games of what are called free game, what are called free games or are not premium games on the platform. And there's tons of them. So just clicking through here, and they're constantly adding new ones. Arc Nova is the #1 game on the platform. It's an incredible experience developed by people who are much better at developing than I am, but I did take a lot of inspiration from them. And you can see there's all this stuff, right? And it's a really great experience because you can go in and you can say, like, I'm not going to click on Terraforming Mars because I know that one's relatively new, but like Anachrony, right? Anachrony is a 4.5 weight game or something. It is not a light game. And you can just click start and start playing with random people that you know. So like I can grab Omelet in here, or I can grab you, Dave. I don't know if you know how to play, but like I can just add Dave. Now adding,
I just got a pop up. Yeah.
Adding individual people is a premium thing. So you cannot, if you don't have a premium account, you can't literally add an individual. But a premium user can add a free user. So, and by a premium user, I do mean it is a paid service. I think it's like $5 a month, which is an incredible value for what you get.
It is,
but it's not free.
Yeah.
And so you can play this, but perhaps even better than grabbing a game with Dave is you can learn. So once a game is out there are tutorials. And so you can just click on a tutorial and it'll walk you through kind of a la rehearsal or first taste. It'll walk you through a situation where you learn about a game. Now, some of these games you will go through a tutorial and it'll be you'll get a sense of it, but you won't really know how to play it. Anachrony is one of those. You'll understand what to do on your turn, but you won't fully get it. And some of them, if you like do the tutorial for Jaipur, which is a really light game, you now know all there is to know about Jaipur.
Nice.
So that's hit or miss, but it is an incredible experience, and I hope that someone will develop a tutorial for Distilled. If no one does, I might, but I'm honestly hoping someone else might. And then let's talk about Distilled. So anyone on the platform has access to Distilled now. You can have a free or a paid account, and that's fine. You go in here and you can do turn-based, which means that it plays asynchronously. This is a game that might play over 2, 3, 4 days, where you take a turn every hour, you take a turn every 12 hours, something like that. And Distilled, I will say, plays really well asynchronously. Not all games do. Okay. Abyss is a game that's on the platform. Abyss plays very, very poorly on the platform because the first thing that happens in Abyss is you draw a card and then everyone else has an option to buy it. That's a terrible experience asynchronously.
Yeah.
But it also lets you play live. So you can switch this over to a real-time game, and all of a sudden, now you're playing this live.
That's cool.
And so you can start a game. And these are just people out there who are waiting for a game, waiting for someone to join them. And you can see that right now, your wait time is about 15 minutes, which for a beta game is really good. Like nice. you are not waiting long to start a game. I bet Omelette can tell you that you can always jump into one.
And how many games are being played right now?
1,132 games happening right now. We're at about 100 to 150 games are finishing every day. So
okay, cool. That's good to know.
And I think Omelette and Kevin only account for about 75 of those. So, so we do have some other people playing. No, but seriously, there are actually, I have the numbers. There are actually over 2,000 people who played the game on Board Game Arena.
That's amazing.
In 11 days.
I know that is ridiculous. 11 days. That's ridiculous.
So it's been really awesome, and the community in your Discord has been really incredible and really supportive. They've been throwing out ideas. They've been great testers. They've been patient as I introduce new bugs. It's been a really awesome experience. And then this is what Distilled looks like when you're playing it. So this is a game that I'm playing with Dave, who's also in your Discord. And it is my turn right now. So we're in round 2 right now. You can see that we're in round 2. These are the Spirit Awards that are out there. These are the labels that are still available to us. I will point out, because you did it, I did it.
Nice, good work.
I thought it was important. If you felt it was important, I felt it was important to put that in there. So I've got all these ingredients, and we'll see how this goes. I have three grain sugars. This is like a summary of what's in your pantry, but that's not actually your pantry. Your pantry is in this dock up here. So this is what I have. I have those cards in my pantry right now, and this is what I have in my storeroom. So I have a barrel. I have this. I have my whiskey recipe cube. So,
and when you hover over something, you've set it up so that you can see, it kind of zooms in on it a little bit, doesn't it?
There's a lot of tooltips in here, and there's a couple reasons for that. The first is that some of the text is small, right? There's a lot of stuff on the board, and there's a lot of stuff that you want to see. So yeah, you can hover over this. You can also increase the size of your recipe. So you can press this plus minus, and your recipe flight gets much bigger.
Nice.
Which is really nice. You can hover over like your bottle, and you can see that, okay, that bottle is actually the worm bottle. I have that
cool.
in there. And then all of these also have their stuff. And like, for example, the trucker, right? The bonus text, the end game points text is really small, but it's in that tooltip there. Yeah. So you can read it that way as well. The other cool thing, which I don't want to get you in any trouble, is this is freely translated into many, many languages. So allow me to very quickly just do this. I'm gonna change my language over to language.
Oh, really? You can just do it like that? That's insane. Yeah.
So this isn't going to change any of the art, but now look at these Spirit Awards.
Oh my gosh.
So if you want to, and this is translated by volunteers, so like questionable accuracy, right? I speak Spanish, so I can vouch for some of the Spanish, but it's really awesome that this is just available, and it's like 50-something languages. It's translated into Japanese, it's translated into Polish, it's translated into a bunch of languages, and the tooltips let you see that, because obviously the text on the cards isn't translated.
Oh, I see. That's nice. Okay, I get it.
But yeah, so this just makes it a little bit more accessible to people around the world. And
that's great. And then on the right, before you start, one other thing, I like that you can kind of see the history of decisions, which is cool.
Absolutely. You can see everything that's happened, and you can watch replays after the fact.
Oh, cool.
So this is everything that's happened in this game. I'm going to switch back to English since that's probably what most people here speak. But and so then I'm going to click this Distill All button. You can select your ingredients individually, but we'll see if I get lucky or unlucky. It looks like I got unlucky. What an amazing job I have done. So yeah, I didn't manage to make whiskey, but the game on the back end understands that. It knows that both of those got pulled. It knows I can't make whiskey, and that I only have the option to make vodka. So Dave, if you're watching, you got lucky.
Well, look what he said. He says he made the decision to skip his first distill turn. So who knows?
Yeah. Dave made a mistake. As we were setting up this game, Dave made a mistake. Which, like, I do want to call out, like, BGA is an amazing platform. It's very accessible. It puts the game on rails. So even if you don't have a full and complete understanding of the game, you can mostly play through it, which means it's very newbie friendly. If you like watch a 5-minute how it's played video, you can probably jump into this really easily. In fact, one of my friends did that. Nice. While we were in alpha, he watched the Knights Around the Table video and jumped in. I was like, nice. I didn't teach him the game. He just jumped in, and you point and click at buttons, and if it doesn't work, it probably can't be done.
Yeah, totally.
But there are some downsides, right? There's no takesies backsies in Board Game Arena. And that's probably the number one thing that will be frustrating is you might click a button that you didn't mean to click. And while there are confirmation buttons in place, like I'm going to click through this cell flow and grab my signature ingredient, I have an opportunity to confirm it, and I can cancel it. But if I hit this button and then realize actually that was a terrible idea, it's locked in now. There's nothing I can do. And so if you're trying to play a more friendly game, that can be frustrating for some people. Or if you're trying to play competitive, really. There are definitely advantages to something like TTS or playing over the board with your friends where you're like, actually, that was a bad idea. Do you mind if you can't do that in this?
Yeah. Well, and one thing I appreciate you pointing that out. And one thing I think for people that are new to this to know, and maybe you mentioned this, you could have multiple games going on at once. I could be playing 5 different games of Distilled at the same exact time, all turn-based. It looks like you're doing that. And so I know I have appreciated that notes feature. I know Moody, one of our fans in the community, pointed that out to me that I can kind of keep notes to make sure I'm on top of it. But also, I think that's the other thing. If you're trying to do lots of them, you might end up making some mistakes. But at the same time, it's like, well, whatever. It's just a game. I'm going to play through this, and I'm going to have many more chances to play as well.
Yeah. So in this game, right, I had a note for myself that was like, you want to make soju. That's what you want to do on the next turn.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, you can apply your discounts just fine.
That's amazing.
This is an async game. I'm playing with some guy in Poland and some guy in Germany, or women. I don't know. But and our time zones don't line up that well, so there are big lulls in the game. But we're on round 7. We made it.
Yeah, you're gonna do it.
So yeah, it's been really great. It will evaluate whether you won a Spirit Award for you. It will evaluate what recipes you can make. It will evaluate if you have enough money to buy a thing. If you don't have enough money to buy a thing, it will offer you the opportunity to do tastings. I will say, I think this has taught me how powerful trading is. In this
world. Yeah.
Trading is an incredibly powerful tool that, you have in your FAQ. Like, you forget. This is the most commonly forgotten thing.
Yep.
Well, this puts a button right in front of you. It's like, oh, that's right. I can trade.
Especially where, most people are used to saying, yeah, I guess I could trade a plant for a grain, because you can trade a freaking bottle for berries. Like and I think most people forget that stuff. So I think that's another neat one that I've noticed when you scroll down. You've got you've got a link to the full rule set, but then you've also got some nice, just quick how to play bullets. Like, I thought that was really nice, so that people,
I didn't do this. That some fan of your game made this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this wasn't me.
Nice. That's cool too. I didn't know that that's possible. So how's that work when that happens? Does someone need to? I mean, I don't get anything to approve it. Do you get a chance to say no, or is it more of an open forum type of thing?
It is an open forum that I can veto. So I can undo someone's change.
Yeah.
I have admin rights, and I can lock people out of it if people are getting abusive.
Nice.
But yeah, for the most part, it's just community driven, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
You can anyone can click in here, and they can click edit, and this is just a wiki page, and you can add it. I added this stuff because I should point out to anyone who's familiar with Distilled, there are a couple of things that are a little bit different. As I said before, one of the most frustrating things on Board Game Arena is when you have a situation where you're waiting for other people. And for that reason, we decided to streamline the distill phase so that it is actually taken in player order instead of done simultaneously. Mm-hmm. That's so that you don't have to wait multiple times for multiple players along the way. You just have your turn, you do your thing, the next person does their thing. And then the drone camera we talked about, and some stuff is automated. So the choice of flavor cards for the Doig ventilator, that one's automated.
Yeah, I noticed that the other day. It's just like, just give the better one. Why would anyone want something different? Right?
Yeah, until you tell me that you want to do cast strength, and then it becomes a problem.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But we can if we get to that point, we can we can always add in the choice again.
Totally. Wow.
So yeah,
cool.
that's Board Game Arena. If anyone has any questions that they want to drop in chat, happy to answer. Or of course your Discord, right?
Yeah.
There are a bunch of people who've been playing this game on Board Game Arena since March, I want to say. I think that's when we started opening up the private alpha.
Yep.
It's been a really good experience, and there's a lot of people who are eager to help.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm just putting the Paverson Discord in here too. One last question for you, JB. If people, and like you said, maybe it's in the Discord. Can you actually point out on here? I think there's a way that people can get in touch with you through here because you're listed as a developer somewhere. I think
I am listed as a developer. So if you want to get into, like, if you see something that's wrong, you can just file a bug on your table, and you can say like a rule. So if you think that there's something wrong with the game, you can always file this relatively easily, and
nice.
I will take a look at this. I look at these almost daily, and so you can look at them that way. But the best, if you want to actually like chat with me, I mean, you literally can send me a direct message on Board Game Arena. My username, I've flashed a couple times here, is C12H22011. That's the chemical formula for sucrose.
That's right.
So if you want to do that, you're welcome to DM me, but probably the better way to get in touch with me is through the Discord.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you'll find them on Discord for sure.
Yeah, I'm active in a bunch of Discords, but the best way to find me and talk about Distilled or BGA, or if you want to help out, I know that we briefly talked about maybe doing the solo mode. We've talked about some of that stuff.
Yeah.
If you're interested, hit me up.
Cool. Hey, thanks, JB. This has been so awesome, both for me to be able to see some of this and hear it, but also I think for others to get a chance to peek behind the curtain there and see that process. And maybe for a few of you out there, you actually have never opened up BGA, just like me, mere weeks ago, not really knowing what it was. And I can personally attest, I tried to stay away from it because I thought, I don't know, I'm not sure if I just want to play tons of Distilled. I've done that for years, play testing it. And B, I wouldn't know how to navigate that space whatsoever. I've got so much else on my plate right now. So it was, I think, what was it, like a week or so ago, you're like, okay, yeah, but here's the deal, dude. If you're going to want to make this premium, you got to play it. That's like, yeah, you're right.
It wasn't a week ago. It was last weekend. And you played
good Lord.
You played like 10 or 15 games.
I know. I can't stop. It's my own game. What is it? It's so fun. I got anyone out there. I've had more fun playing Distilled on BGA than most of the times I've played myself. And I think that's just because of the fact that I was explaining this to someone the other day. Maybe it was my wife. I can't remember. It's the first time I've played where I'm not play testing it.
Yeah.
And I'm playing it a lot. And I'm like, oh, this game is fun. It's not
fun.
just me looking at how this is going to work and getting reactions. I'm just playing.
And I'm not going to pretend that you don't lose something by not being at a table with friends. And like, you miss some of the theme. Distilled is such an immersive game. When you're playing it, you feel like you're making spirits, right?
Yeah.
And you lose some of that on the. I tried to capture as much as I can, but you lose some of that.
Yeah, I like it how it pulls it out, drops it in. I think it's fun.
But at the same time, like, yeah, you can just play it for fun, and it can just be a background thing in your life. That's like, yeah, I'm just playing Distilled.
Yeah.
I used to with some of my coworkers. I used to play Ticket to Ride. We would just like start a game at 9 a.m. and by the end of the day, we'd finish the game. That was fun.
That's cool. Well, hey, thanks again, JB, for all your time and all this awesome stuff you've done for the game. And the future's bright. I'm excited to see it continue as it seems to be growing more and more with people playing it too. So thank you so much.
Thank you for being so supportive of this. We couldn't have done this without you being open and communicating about what you want and all of that. It's been, some people end up partnering with like Rio Grande Games. And nothing against them, right? But that's a big thing. And it's been really cool to have a bit of a personal relationship with you.
Totally.
Even if we haven't
That's a good point
until today.
Yeah, I love it. Cool. Thanks, JB. Well, hey, you have a good night, and man, enjoy that black art. I'll enjoy my Port Charlotte over here.
If we ever meet in person, I'll bring you some.
Oh, yes. All right. See you, man. All right. Well, what a good time, everybody. Hopefully that helped you see a little bit more behind the curtain of the many facets of Paverson Games and the games we offer. Obviously, we're making physical games. That's what's most important to us. Bringing friends, like JB said, bringing friends around the table, having a good time, having something that's beautiful, having something that kind of squeezes your brain a little bit, causes you to kind of think about how to figure something out. But if we can lower that threshold, that barrier a little bit for others to be able to enjoy it, whether it's on their commute, on the train, I mean, not driving, or whether it's at home at night and they don't have anyone else to play with, but they can play with people online using Tabletop Simulator. BGA and TTS are two fantastic vehicles for that I highly encourage you to try as a nice augment, as a nice addition to you playing in person. So anyway, that's it for me. Thanks so much to Seth, so much to JB. Great work, both of you guys. Thank you so much. I can't express how grateful I am of all the work you've put into it. I know this is just the beginning. We're going to continue to do that too. And to everybody else who tuned in tonight, thanks for all of your support. And I will not wait another month to do a Whiskey Wednesday, because that will be after Luthier. I'll probably try and squeeze one in a couple weeks. And that one will be very focused on the Luthier Kickstarter itself, talking about pledges, giving you all a sneak peek of that. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, Slanj Dava, everybody.